This is Bloomberg Markets, and I'm Shanali Basak. Next week, hundreds of students in New York will meet at St. John's University to learn about financial literacy. And Bevon Joseph is financial education advisor to the New York City Department of Education and founder of the Greenwood Project. Let's talk about what you're doing here next week. Why are you bringing so many high school students, about 700, I believe, to St. John's? And how much interest is there for these students to actually learn about the world of finance?
Well, thanks for having me today, Shanali. But so the New York City Department of Education, 13 high schools in Queens, they got together last October to launch a financial education program to really bring financial literacy to high school juniors and seniors. They reached out to me for my help based on what I've been doing for the last 10 years with kids in Chicago, and now we're looking to take that throughout the entire city. So the event next week is kind of a culmination of the last couple of months of the kids working together. We have about 87 kids who've created business plans to pitch on that day as well, too. So these kids are coming up with entrepreneurial projects and stuff like that. They're pitching for real money in a Shark Tank competition. But the goal is to really bring financial education to every kid in New York City. So this event is a big part of that as well.
And this is voluntary. It's not mandatory, correct? And from what I understand, there's a push here to make financial education more mandatory in high schools.
That is correct. There was a recent report that came out. Now there's 35 states that are making it mandatory that kids have some kind of financial education before graduation from high school. New York City itself, it's, this 12th year of high school, there's 15 hours that kids have to go through. But our goal with this event is really set the precedent to make New York City kind of the model for the rest of the country.
Well, talk more about that. What does it look like even beyond this program for you when you're talking about the Department of Education in the city, in the state, and to other states? You had talked about your work in Chicago.
Yeah, definitely. So Chicago, I've been doing this for the last 10 years with young people, primarily diverse populations, so Black and Latinx in particular. But again, I've seen firsthand what happens when kids get that education going into high school. I started working with kids in their junior year of high school, all the way through college. I have many hundreds of mentees in financial services today, making six figures. Again, these are kids who didn't get that exposure. So for me personally, it's really my purpose to really get this program out, not just in New York, but every state as well, too.
So we talk about the Department of Education. You talk about funding the Department of Education. How hard is it to get resources for programs like this in schools?
Well, I think the timing is right now. So David Banks, who's the Chancellor of Public Schools in New York City, the Superintendent in Queens South, we're focusing Queens right now. And also I've been working with Dr. Damian Kenwood, who's really the Student Services Coordinator for the entire South Queens District. So what we have is like what I call the political power behind us, really. So it's really top of mind for everyone now. So I think funding resources will come. My job really is to bring Wall Street to the table, because we can't do this alone. The Department of Education needs Wall Street at that table to help with funding, sponsorships, mentorships, internships, and that kind of stuff.
Is Wall Street getting involved? Do they have an ear for students that are this young? They haven't even been to college yet, or are barely thinking about it at this point.
What's interesting is firms actually want to get in front of high school kids, because that's the future talent pipeline. I think that if you wait till kids are in college, it's too late. Working primarily diverse populations as well. So companies want to get their brand in front of young people. A lot of young people want to know what Citadel does or what UBS does. So that's what we're doing as well.
30 seconds here. How is the high school talent pipeline responding to the idea of jobs in finance? Do they feel that it's accessible, or do they feel shut out?
No, I think more exposure is the key. Sort of events like next week. So if companies want to support campuscoininvest.com, they can go and learn more. But yeah, I think students are eager to get that information, get that exposure, and get the access to the opportunity as well.
Bevon, we really thank you for your time, and good luck with that event next week. 700 students in New York now learning about financial education, much younger than before. That is Bevon Joseph, the advisor to the New York City Department of Education.